All right. Hello. Yeah. For some reason, Kristy, are you there? Yeah, but you're not here. Okay. Let me see what happened there. I'm gonna send that link to you one more time. It's okay. It's okay. It's to be expected. It's okay to be expected. Hold on. Let me see. All right. Here. Let's try that again. Send it again. I'm live right now, so I am literally live. So let's see if I sent it to you the link again. See if that changes anything. And you're here, see?
Yeah.
So we lost a little bit of time. Let's get right into it. We are live, Kristy.
Yay.
Awesome. So we had a little bit of trouble issues with it. I'm Jacob Adams. I'm a fitness coach and fitness and leadership coach. I'm here with Kristy DeLeon, a relationships expert. Kristy, do you want to tell the people a little bit about what you do, how you help people?
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you so much, Jacob, for inviting me to join you today. I'm really excited to share with you and everyone else who's going to watch this video how how we can create more abundance in their life. I know that's something that you're passionate about doing, as am I. And so as a relationship expert, I actually focus on men in business, successful men who are working towards their ultimate lifestyle and career, men who have already put in, that foundation work, who are going towards that goal, and have found it difficult to put the pieces together in their relationship aspect. So that's what I really help men do, is to integrate both the professional and personal life. So as a whole, they are living at that higher peak performance level that I know that you're passionate about getting them to that place too.
Yes, I'm very passionate about that. And I love the abundance aspect, because that's actually a subject that I'm actually studying this month and teaching this month, is abundance.
Wonderful.
So yeah, and so what do we're going to get into we'll come back to abundance because it's its own topic. So
sure.
I know that for the viewers that sometimes, we're living very busy lives. That's like the time is the most valuable currency. That's more true now than ever. Like it seems like everybody's on there, even selling oranges on the street, and it's like, they're like, my time. So
right.
I mean, time has become one of those elusive commodities now. So let's get into what, I talked to you for a brief second, maybe 5 minutes before we got on the interview.
Yeah.
I looked at some of your other stuff 2 days ago. You were talking about integration, which is a beautiful word. It's a beautiful word, integration. And you're saying, from what I understood, what I gathered from what you understood, and you're an expert. So what I gathered from what I understood was that, hey, look, there's men that we sometimes compartmentalize.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I could plead guilty to that and I'll give you a complete, I'm one of those guys that now I think I did that for a while because I tried integrating and it backfired on me a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. And now looking back, I could say, I learned from it. It made me the person I am today. And that's taking all my strength to be like, see the bright in it, see the good in it.
Yeah.
And so I've taken 2 years to be single, to create the space, to create the space of let me find that right person. Let me do what it takes. Let me do the inner work. Have you heard this term, the inner work?
Yes. Yeah.
So I've been doing that. And that's why I said, when I saw that you're out there helping men, I was like, well, this is the type of person that I want to talk to and interview and see what she can bring to the people that watch my YouTube videos. Like, hey, so what would you tell someone like me that has this sort of broad experience that I've integrated? I've taken 2 years single. And so here I am. I love what you're saying. I'm one of those people say, like, sure, Kristy, tell me how to integrate. So do you have your top things to do to integrate, or ways to integrate?
Yes, and that's a beautiful question, because I think when you are right at the gate and you're wanting to bust through it, there's also that that inner voice that keeps you at the gate. You get a little gun shy because of past experiences. We all do that, right? We're hardwired to avoid pain. That's the purpose of our nervous system. So wanting to break through that, the inner work, the mindset that I like to use with my clients, mastering your mindset around the insecurities, fears that create those limiting beliefs that cause us to stay in that comfort zone. That maybe I've worked with a lot of men who pride themselves on all the Tony Robbins conferences they've gone to and all the books they've read, but yet they start hiding behind gaining knowledge. And they start hoarding that information, but then they don't do anything with it. So a good starting point that I start with all of my clients is getting really crystal clear on the vision they have for not only the woman, the ideal woman that they want to have in their life, but then moving towards the ideal relationship. What does that look like? And then ultimately, as a man, what does that mean for you? How do you have to be as a man in order to sustain that kind of relationship? Because as we all know, relationships are work, and they require, you to show up, to want to accept some accountability, to be able to have those difficult conversations of calling out perhaps your partner too when they're doing something that's not feeling right for you, which I can admit I hate those conversations still with my husband. But something that I have found that if I don't do that with him, then I'm robbing him the opportunity to be the kind of man that I really want him to be. I'm not allowing him to step up to the plate in a bigger way. So when you're able, going back to your question of that first step is getting really crystal clear, because once that end goal is so clear and you can just envision it and see it, it makes all the other steps much easier to identify.
You said so much there that I love. Like it was like gold, 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 gold,
Yeah.
all true, all true. And I've
Yeah.
heard it from different people in different ways.
Yeah.
One of the things I developed is something called common sense self-mastery. I told you about that.
Yes. Yes.
And so as you said it, it's like I have this common thread, and I heard your gold,
Mm-hmm.
and I get the purest levels of it. And
Yeah.
this is the purity of it. Like everything was pure already, but I just made like the ultra, ultra, ultra platinum gold, like the most beautiful gold ever. So that's what I call common sense self-mastery. And this is what I got from it.
Yeah.
So Tony Robbins actually said a lot of what you said. I heard this back in 2002. He said, write down your person, write down what they look like, write down what they do, write down how they look, write down their values, just be very crystal clear, which was one of your first steps. So see how you're both saying the same thing? Yeah. And I also interviewed last year, 2 years ago, some people that were into something called twin flames. So I'll bring that up to you towards the end.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
And we're gonna I know you have to go here in about 30 minutes, so I want to honor that. So please.
That's okay.
So twin flames. And and they said the same thing. Write down what I think they called it your love list. I forget what they called it. But clarity was something that they talked about. And believe it or not, I have on this laptop somewhere saved my perfect girl. Yeah. That I made like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And that's part of the reason I've decided to be single for 2 years, is to be the guy that I need to be. Yes. Okay. And so you're right. I mean, some people could stand in the gate of fear and be like, okay, well, let me just consume knowledge. And without applying it and testing it and being vulnerable to life a little bit, they're missing a lot of the purpose of that knowledge. Right. Absolutely. And I can testify that I've fallen victim to that too, as in starting out as an entrepreneur and feeling that I needed to learn so much before I could take that first step. Granted, it's much different in business than in relationships, because, in the relationship, you are like, using a word that you just used, getting really vulnerable with someone.
exposing yourself in a way that you obviously wouldn't do as a business owner or entrepreneur or whatnot. And that requires a lot of courage to be vulnerable on a much different level than it does in the professional world, right? And also you're working against any stories that your mind has created about relationships and love, either from previous relationships and even stuff from childhood. So a lot of the men that I work on, it's like, the first relationships you had with a woman is with your mother, and experiencing the relationship between your parents if they were together, or if you had a single parent, how they did relationships. And all that stuff, as much as, right, we're not living in the past, or when we visit that, it's not about hanging out there, but bringing to the forefront how those experiences have left an imprint on our way of thinking, on our worldview of ourselves and love and relationships.
I love your entire work, believe it or not. I know that we just met, and the reason I love it is that, and I saw it when I heard that you wanted to be a coach. Can you see yourself more like a coach now? Is that correct? Did I pick that up correctly?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, not opposed to, I know it's still in there. The therapy is in there, but you are actually an expert, a 10-year veteran of the therapy life world, right?
Yeah. Yes. Out here in California, was doing it, marriage and family therapy for 10 years.
Wow. And so what, I hear so much stuff, and you gave me so much. I mean, I'm telling you, you shot off, you hit all of the buttons in my head. I'm like, oh my God, I got to ask all these things. So what would you tell, let's just say, because some people, they're busy, like I said, and we know that. So what would you tell them, this average 25 to 35-year-old male hasn't found his wife yet. If he wants a wife, that is, he might, what would you tell him? Because you specialize a lot in the man and woman relationship because they're different. Is that why? Am I getting that clear? Because some men may want to be with other men.
Yeah. Right.
So are you also helping them, or is it mainly guys? Because, hey, we're a little different than women, like Mars and Venus kind of thing.
Yes. So, my area of expertise is in heterosexual relationships. I'm not opposed to working with men and women of the LGBT community. But my specialty is in, heterosexual relationships.
Yes. And the only reason I asked that is because like, okay, well, what would you tell a man that we know that he's an entrepreneur. We know that he has a deep inner desire often for that right woman. I mean, a lot of men could say, and maybe there's a few exceptions that don't want one. Okay, let's put him on the side for say, okay, well, not for you, not for you. But what would you tell that guy that, like me, I'd love to find my soulmate. And I'm doing things for it. I meditate. I wrote a book on meditation. I'm being single for 2 years. I'm creating a business. I know my purpose. So I'm putting everything in order. I know what I want. I know my values. What would you tell that guy that's looking at you right now saying, all right, Kristy, I know, be clear, but what would you tell him if you could tell him in one sentence, the dynamo to get in there and make him stand up to the plate? Because you said it yourself. Men have to stand up to the plate in a relationship. So what's to stand up to the plate? Is it just to be clear? Because guys could go write a list that they could do that. Hey, this is what I want. But is that enough? Is that enough to get it done for real? Because I wrote a list.
I would say 2 things. You got to get honest with yourself of what's been holding you back this whole time. And 2, you got to take action.
Okay.
Right? So being honest with yourself about what's been holding you back and taking action. Because those 2 things with men and with women, when you take away all the fluff of, well, I just don't have time, I don't have the money, or all that surface level BS that we like to hide behind, because those are the socially acceptable answers. I'm career focused. Okay, but once we whittle through all that, there's that fear of experiencing that pain again, of having to go through that heartache that you went through last. And you'd be surprised on how much that holds both men and women back. And, you know, of course, I think along the line, I don't think a lot of people are like you, Jacob, that take those 2 years for self, you know, personal growth. But after a major breakup, you know, there's those small 1 to 2 month relationships. And as those continue to happen and you start saying like, oh my God, these people out here, they're not fitting what I want. I'm not getting the relationship I want. People start getting pretty pessimistic and start losing hope that love for them exists out there, which then feeds into those fears and insecurities and limiting beliefs that continues to hold them at the gate, continues to make it difficult to get really honest with themselves about acknowledging that fear of experiencing the pain again. And I know that's really kind of deep there, and that's where it ends up going with men.
I know it's unfair to you in the sense that you don't know this, but 2 days prior to our conversation, I sat here on the couch with my friend, Becca, and we discussed insecurities. And insecurities, believe it or not, 'cause in other words, this our interview isn't just like, sure, I'll interview her. No, I'm very interested. I'm beyond interested in what you do. And so, and the reason is because when I hit towards the end of my 20s, I sat at my desk. I had money in the bank. I was in good shape, doing CrossFit. I had a car and a house. I was going places. I felt very attractive to the opposite sex. I had a girlfriend, and I was on the cusp of my second big breakup. And I said to myself, it can't just be them. I have to be doing something wrong here. Yeah. And I didn't know what it was. And so that's where I started a spiritual journey. Now, I know when I say that, I'm not trying to be like, hey, that means that's your answer for everyone. I'm saying that was what I did. I was like, dude, I got an education. I work out. I eat right. I know where I stand on a lot of things. Yeah. Why am I having trouble with this relationship stuff? Does that make sense? Like it was like why is this relationship stuff so hard? Yeah. And now after my third breakup with what I respectfully call a toxic relationship, meaning it's not like I don't gain any pleasure from calling that relationship toxic. It's slightly embarrassing. It's humbling. And in calling that toxic, for me, it was like, okay, my biggest revelation is, and I tell this to people, is believe it or not, we all have insecurities. Start there. Like if you're having problems with people, I go, look, we all have insecurities. Yeah. Like it seems like that's what I tell people. It's like, cause they're like, but you know what? I've seen this. This is kind of the question I saw when I last saw someone. He was arguing with his wife, and I go, remember, we all have insecurities. And he went like, yeah, I know. And he like, you know, like he sunk deeper. You know what I mean? When someone like, when it's like, what's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, I feel so honored again to be on here with you, and that you are so open to sharing your story and what you went through. Something that I think, and being so vulnerable, something that society unfortunately is telling men that it's not okay to do that. So I really appreciate you setting such a beautiful example for the other men and women who are watching this and getting so raw and honest. And in regards to insecurities, you know, whenever something, and it's interesting to see it from the outside in with people, and even to reflect on it for myself, that when challenges occur, whether, you know, in any aspect of our life, that it spikes up that defense mechanism and we're ready to like go to war, right? That's because it's triggered an insecurity. It's triggered something, a feeling of not worthiness, not being heard, not being validated, not being seen, not being appreciated, all those things, right? Coming back down to, and which again, I can't help but tie back into maybe stuff that we've experienced in the past, like deep-rooted childhood stuff sometimes, or not. Maybe it was just in the past relationship that we've made a strong commitment that there's no way in hell we're ever going to be in that place again. So our armor shoots up, and then we can't be there for that person. We can't be there for the relationship in the moment when our insecurities are triggered and our emotions are really high, because that takes away from our ability to not only be present, but to make good choices and decision making, because we're no longer in that state. We're in an emotional state, and you can't make sound decisions when you're in an emotional state.
That was really deep. I think I got it. It took me somewhere. It took me somewhere.
Good.
You know what I mean when it takes you somewhere? Like, you're using English words, but the emotions I'm experiencing are very spiritual. There's like stuff shifting in there.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing to help men see that connection. Even from, and something that I incorporate into my coaching is helping them identify the visceral reaction to when they're triggered. Because when you can control yourself on a visceral level, your mind is able to perform at its peak level.
Wow. So that way, see, that right there was gold right there. I'm telling you, watch. You got to write that one down, because that will get us. You see how you tied in peak performance?
Yes.
And you gave us a word like visceral.
Yeah. Yes.
Think of us like little lions, and we're just like, I want it. So let's delve into that one. What are you saying there? Like, I got it emotionally. I know what you're getting. My systems, my brain, my heart, everything,
right.
emotions. I picked up what you're saying, but how would you deconstruct it so that it's more digestible? Because visceral, to perform at a peak performance, mind, like giving it. What are you trying to say there?
Yeah.
What are you saying?
So the image that comes to my mind that I think most men can imagine are what snipers have to do out in the field.
Okay.
They're in that high intense moment. They have someone in the bullseye. They know they have to calm their breathing down, their heartbeat. Their body has to be still as the surface of a lake in order to make the right call, the right shot.
Love it.
And in order to have that kind of mental clarity, your mind also, or your body also has to be still too. And when we are triggered by fear and anger, those are the emotions that trigger a visceral response, trigger our autonomic nervous system. When that's triggered, it takes away from our ability to have clarity in our mind. The energy shifts from our mind to our body, and we are no longer able to be fully present. So I'm thinking about that sniper and how much control he has to have over his body to do his job right. I mean, imagine if you can have that kind of focus and intensity and clarity at any given moment, even a moment that wants to really push your buttons and get you either fight or flight.
Oh, trust me.
Right?
That's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that imagine being able to have so much control over your body and your mind that even in that second, you can make the best decision ever.
I'm going to give you a tough one now. I'm going to give you a tough question. And it's going to put you in the hot seat, not in a negative way.
No.
You won't be scared. You won't be scared.
Bring it. I'm ready.
You ready? Okay. So there was a book I read called, I'll give you the name of the book. Well, I'll tell you the name of the book later.
Okay.
So it's coming from a book. And this is what I've noticed. Do you think, because you explained it so well to the point where it brought this question up.
Yeah.
And you said, in not so many words, that sometimes women will challenge a man to make him step up to the plate. In not so many words. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't know if it's the word challenge you use, but confronted him, talked to him. I don't know, whatever word.
You guys see it as a challenge. That's for sure. Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So what word should I use? What word should I use besides challenge?
I mean, I think that's a great word because from your perspective, you feel challenged. You feel like you're challenging me right now, right? So I think let's just go with that word.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
Well, it's a commonly understood word.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know what other words. Let me see if I can come up with a word.
Yeah. Okay.
The word would be, except challenge, it would be the feeling. I feel some type of way right now.
Yeah.
So do you think that's true that women, the book says that women challenge men to see how much of a man they are, and I'm paraphrasing to go right to the point,
Okay.
right to like the jugular.
Yes.
Because the name of the book is The Way of the Superior Man.
Okay.
And so do you think that women are testing the integrity of men to see just how manly they are at their core? And that's a loaded question. I wanted to present that to you.
Yeah.
It's very loaded. It's very loaded.
Yes.
It's loaded with evolution. It's loaded with so much.
Yeah. Yes.
I wanted to challenge you. That's
that's a great question. I love that you asked that. You know, I think that not on a conscious level, women do that. That's not our MO.
Gotcha.
To have you, feeling like you're cornered. No one likes to feel that. What I do think that happens is that because men and women operate so differently and our needs are different, our expectations are different, that once that person starts operating from a different storyline that you're used to or that you want to see, you start feeling challenged. You start feeling like they're against me now. We're not on the same team anymore.
Yeah, and that ruins relationships to me. In my past, that I don't know, that's my old story,
right?
But that's what I would have said in the past, and that's where I had to do a lot of inner work to now when I'm challenged. How am I going to be turned on by it? Am I going to what do I step up to the plate? Because in the past for me, my insecurity was, wait a minute, why am I being challenged here? And again, I saw that polarization. That maybe you want someone else. That's why you're challenging me. See how the insecurities come up?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I mean, there's some people who are not emotionally stable, right? Who maybe are out to try to, in particular, women perhaps, trying to see, well, is he going to be truthful? Is he going to be able to do X, Y, Z for me that the other X amount of guys couldn't? So there are people that are out there. I'm not saying that all women, don't come from that place, right? And as men too, there's also a place too of challenging women and wanting to see, if she's really real and all those things. But I think, in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, talks about mental maps and, the maps being formed from stories of our past, that when you're able to be flexible with your map and be open to changing the route, right? Like in our phone, faster route, 3 minutes saves you 3 minutes. When you're able to click, okay, go, I'm willing to check it out, that creates room for growth for not only yourself, but the relationship. And I think that's where some people get hung up, is that they are holding on for whatever reason to their map, to their story, and they don't want to let go.
Yeah, I could see that, because, and I'll validate a lot of what you said, because to me, a man and woman had a certain structure. I was raised Catholic, so to me, I was, and I say this admittedly, and I don't say it with a lot of shame. It's gone a lot of shame recently in the society. Like, I was raised with a macho culture, like macho man. I was raised watching WWE and a lot of, and here's the thing, Kristy, a lot of guys that work out that are competitive
Yeah.
are macho on some level.
Yeah.
Like we're not like
Mm-hmm.
we're not just like all like I meditate because to balance out my stuff. Like it's like
Yeah.
okay.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, I
So I mean,
definitely go ahead.
what
Sorry.
is there a reason to be shamed? A good reason? Like you as an expert,
Uh-huh.
what would you say about the macho stuff? Because I'm all for listening to women. I'm all for women getting paid the same. I'm all for the feminine. I love Lady Gaga. I've seen her live 4 times. Like, so
Yeah.
I'm saying is, I'm all for women's strength. I love Alicia
Yeah.
Keys and Mariah Carey. So I love
Yeah.
women being amazing women. I love them being beautiful. Like
Yeah.
I love femininity.
Yeah.
So and with that said, I love masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
what do you have to say about macho culture? Because I think that's where men are feeling a little bit. I know that my type of like friends, the bros, I call myself an artistic bro. I was telling you that's what I'm an artistic bro.
Yeah.
So what would you tell people like, that are heterosexual that
Yeah.
like masculine type stuff like CrossFit or sports cars? And what would you
Yeah.
tell someone like us that wants a soulmate in this modern age?
First of all, there's nothing wrong with your masculinity, with your macho-ness, and in thinking about where that came from just evolution. You guys needed to be like that. You needed to go hunt. You needed to protect the village. You needed to have that kind of intensity, right, in the moment. You need.
Hello, Kristy, you there? All right, maybe we'll come back here in a bit. I don't know where you went. I'm going to call you. Kristy. All right, let me see what's going on here. Kristy, you there? Yeah, sorry. I don't know what happened. I touched my mouse for a second. I mean, I'm saying like a light tap and nothing. I didn't touch anything. And oh, okay, so it was you. Okay, so I could stop the broadcast and then pick back up, maybe put like 2 parts. I'm sure because the good thing is that I'm recording this so people could know what happened. They're not going to be like, what happened? Okay, so it's just technology. We live in a modern world. People can figure it out, I'm sure. Uh-huh. Okay, well, I think I see you here. It says you're here, but I don't see your. Okay, got it, got it, got it. Let me hang up. Let me hang up. Okay. Hello, hello. Kristy, you there? Kristy, there you are.
There.
Okay, you're back. Let's just
Yes.
we'll pick up right where we left off.
Yes. Yes.
Macho defending the
Yes.
village. It was an evolutionary decision,
Yeah.
evolutionary thing. And the name of my
Yeah.
company is Evolution Training Department. So I'm all into evolution.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So this is right in line with that. So yeah, there was an absolute need for men to be so testosterone driven. Your life depended on it. The life of your community depended on it. Thankfully, and I'm thankful, I don't live in those times. And we don't need to be as aggressive. We don't have to be on survivor mode. What happens, though, I think, is that there becomes, again, going back to those mental maps, mental stories, that if I do something different, if I'm not as macho, if I don't almost become kind of rigid in those ways of not listening, not being able to be accommodating, not being able to see your woman's needs or want to anticipate them, that can create some type of idea of starting to be feminine or soft. And I don't think any man wants to be considered as soft, right? Especially when you are so
no. You're right.
right?
You're right.
Yeah.
Vulnerable is okay, and get this,
Yeah.
because it's a type
Yeah.
of strength. like
Yes.
that's like,
Yeah.
it's like I want vulnerability. If vulnerability is strength, we're like, I'm listening. Like, I mean, like,
Yes.
we like we like strength. We like stuff that is right on. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And what I love to tell men, because I know it gets them to listen. Imagine how great your sex life would be when your woman feels listened to and validated.
Wow.
Right? And I know when men hear sex, they're like,
if you make a video with that headline, imagine how good your sex life, if your woman, I'm telling you, that one, write that one down, and the visceral strength and clarity, like,
yeah,
because it takes us there, like our brain's like, what if? And we're like, like the imagination starts creating all these visuals. Like,
yes, yeah.
That may be a good idea then. Like,
yes, I might try that.
Yeah, that's exactly what. So to listen.
Well, I was going to say that, yes, to listen, to anticipate, or want to even learn and understand the needs that your partner has, right? And it might push you to be a little uncomfortable in order to meet those needs. You might have to watch some mindless TV show with her because she's really excited about one of the Real Housewives shows, or God knows what, right?
I've been there.
My husband that's something I'm working on with my husband. He will not watch those with me. And
it's tough
to watch.
It's everything in our training says danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Yeah.
Like, you have to, no, I'm trying to tell you, nothing.
Yeah.
Like, here, we pay so much money and put so much energy to put our mindset, mastering our mindset, to tune all that out, where it's like coming from the inside, and it's like almost like an infiltration. We see it like, what? Like, so there's, I'm letting you know how, you see why it's a problem? You see the disconnect?
Right, yes.
It's like, what, do you get it? Like, it's not.
Yeah. No, I totally understand it. That's why I'm able to work with him, because I understand it. I don't shame you or make you feel like something's wrong because that's how you think. That's how you've been hardwired. And I understand it. But just because, for whatever past experiences, or even on a more biological level, that's how men's brain are hardwired, doesn't mean that we can't form something new in order to get you what you want. Because if you haven't gotten exactly what you want up till now in relationships, it means that there needs to be a change, right? Like that quote of, the form of insanity is continuing to do the same thing and expecting a different result.
Take us there, that moment, because you said that that's worth examining. Take us to that moment. I'm only checking my watch for you because I love where this is headed. Love it.
Yeah.
So give me like a 10-minute warning when we have to cut our,
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Now that said, take us to that moment. I've been there. Girls, when I had a girlfriend years ago, she's playing Twilight Zone, and I'm like, that's so old. Like, why are we gonna watch Twilight Zone? Black and White, or Shirley Temple, or I Love Lucy, and I'm just like, it's the year 2014 at the time. I'm like, like, I have things to do. I have to go to bed. Like,
right.
In other words, I'm like, oh my God, and I honestly thought to myself, I'm in that moment going, does she hate me? Like, is that why she's playing this stuff? Like, this is a cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
And so take a step moment. What am I not seeing there? Besides, like, in other words, how come it's so, like, it's like if someone said, Jacob, lift 300 pounds, I could probably lift that quicker. Like, I know I could lift that quicker than watch that show. So tell me, what am I not seeing?
Mm-hmm.
What are we not seeing?
Well, I think what you're not seeing, or maybe it's difficult perhaps sometimes for both genders to see, is how these different activities or shows or whatever it is fulfilling a need. So maybe those shows took her back to a time when she was younger and life felt easy and happy. Maybe
True.
it brings up, like, I Love Lucy, that playful, silly relationship between Lucy and Ricky, and just how they go at it, but they still love each other, and it's crazy. But, you know, it brings to her also that emotional feeling on a physical level. So for instance, like how you go do CrossFit and work out, or watching football, right? Or wrestling, and how it gets you into that that macho mindset, full of energy, focused, feeling empowered. That's something that you enjoy. And I know for a lot of men, I mean, my husband included, he likes it when I watch football with him, even though I can care less about it. But I do it because I know it's fulfilling for him on some level. So it's getting to that compromise and understanding, okay, I don't really get why you like this, but because I love you, I'm going to be here with you and share this moment. Just like, and I think in speaking to couples who have been married who experience that change in their sex life. And then it feels like, and I've seen it unfortunately in married couples, that women, knowing that we hold the upper hand in that, will withhold sex because they're angry. And it's like, if the man could only listen, but then also if the woman could only listen to him too, and see that, you know, for men, you connect on that physical level primarily through sex, whereas women, we connect through the more mental, emotional level. And when those two sides understand each other and are willing to compromise and meet halfway, both needs get met in a way that neither one of them expected.
That was amazing. Not because, and I think if somebody, I like the way it was clearly said, the football, the I Love Lucy, maybe because I have reference, my former girlfriend she'd talk about her childhood and how it was, you know, so that, I know that you're hitting the nail on the head there. And so what really made me excited was that you said, and I've heard it different ways. Again, I study the master. I study the masters. I study the most advanced, highest performing coaches or gurus or teachers in the world. Is there people better than them? Maybe. I just don't know them. I'm not trying to, I'm just saying. So now that said, they all say something similar on some level. So bringing it back to you, you said that women, so are you saying that men and women could have this energy or this fulfillment differently? You said that women are more mental and men are more physical. But women love sex just as much as men, to my understanding.
They do. Yes. The thing is that if a woman is not feeling connected to a man emotionally, she is less likely to want to have sex with a man.
And what if I told you, and I'm going to challenge you only because it's fun. It's a good kind of challenge.
Yeah.
What if I told you I'm at the stage where I've grown to the stage where I don't want to have sex with a woman if I'm not emotionally connected with her? So am I becoming feminine? Is that a feminine?
No, I'm thinking that, no, that is actually because you are seeing the value of wanting to have a deeper connection than just the physical attraction. What happens in relationships sometimes is that even though there could have been this huge blowout fight, right? I've seen it a lot. I've experienced it a lot myself. A man can still have sex in like 2 minutes. He can compartmentalize enough that his
Right. Yeah.
typically sexual stamina, whatnot, is not impacted. However, if a woman is still fuming and enraged, and how could you have done this and all that stuff, I would say 99% of women are not going to want to have sex until things feel more emotionally resolved.
No, it's fair. It's very fair. I mean, that's very fair.
Which, you know, that's just how, you know, we operate. And I think with having a deeper understanding of, you know, for men, how women see things and how we react to things, then that gives you so much, I don't want to say power, but I mean, it enlightens you to know, like, oh, so that's why she was doing that. Or that's why I got this response from her, which can really help not only in dating, but in relationships too.
I'll give you a challenging question. Another one. That's a good,
yes, please.
Because this is from I think this is from exactly the people that that you're looking to reach. We listen to, we were raised with, I would say we were raised on rock and rap. If you really think about it, we were raised on rock and rap. Do you understand what I'm getting at?
Mm-hmm.
Now, currently I listen to meditation music and piano music, but I was raised on rock and rap. Actually, one of my, Gary, you know who Gary V is? Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yes.
He actually recommended 21 Savage. He's a hardcore rapper, and I listened to him on the way back.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, about this again, this kind of style. And I felt it right away. So, you know, we don't, I know that I can speak for myself, but I know other guys feel like this. We see Kanye West, we see people that are out there influential, powerful, and we don't want to feel like women have you said women have an upper hand in sex. We don't, it's the same way, like you wouldn't like that if men had an upper hand in sex, if that was an established societal norm. Like if you heard that, right? Like men have the upper hand in sex as a societal standard norm, you probably wouldn't like that. I don't think. So in the same way, we don't like that if it said, oh, women have the upper hand. We'll be fine with equality. What's your take on that? I love how you're laughing. I love how you're laughing. This is good.
Well, I mean, I just think in being really honest in relationships.
Sure, go ahead.
Right? That ends up happening. Even in the dating scene. Right? A guy sometimes try to logically talk a woman into why she needs to date him or go out with him or go back home with him or whatnot. Because in that moment, sometimes if we go back to just a very biological, primitive level that drives us, that reptilian brain, in those situations, the women are the prize, right? You're going there because maybe, you know, not only a relationship, but you have sexual needs and you would love to have sex, some men, right? On first date, which is fine. But I think in relationships, when the honeymoon fades and you start getting real with it, right? That when things are not emotionally stable or balanced, that most women know, and most of the relationships that I've helped, there is that offset because she knows that she can withhold sex and as a way of trying to get the man to listen and to step up to the plate because she knows that's what he wants.
In a situation like that, I think that's a good point because in a situation like that, I think that men being men, that's going to trigger a lot of insecurities or his desire for power. Like that's I love that you went there because that is beautiful. That is an awesome trigger there because right there, he has an option. How am I, you said it yourself. When a man is challenged, he's going to ask himself one of two things. How am I going to handle this challenge? And that question is open-ended, see? So it's like, okay, well, now comes options. Here comes the options, see? And so now it's like, okay, do I go to a strip club? Do I go on Tinder? And in a world full of options, she's counting on this one. She's counting on this one. She's counting on this is what I'll do. I'll go meditate and let my soul speak. And through that, I'll find the answer I'm willing to commit to through death. Like, she's counting. I mean,
well,
I know. I mean, but what, I mean, right? Isn't that what she, like, in other words, where there's a strip club down the street going, gentlemen, come here, eat buffet for $10.
Yeah.
And I'm being real with you so you can see pornography, all the girls.
Yeah.
And so this is the world that we're really living in.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. When a woman says, I'm going to pressure cook you into this, it's like, okay, well, that's fine as long as you have a soldier of a man that goes, that is fine. I will elevate to my highest superior level and I will accomplish this for you. Like,
yeah. Yes.
I'm being, so what do you have to, what would you say to that? Well, I mean, what would you say to that's a great, I loved it. I love that we came here. I love it. Because this is it. This is it.
Yes.
This is the dance. This is the two in the room going, so tell me, what would you say to this? Please be as professional, honest. Just give me your best, because this is to me means a lot. It don't mean a lot to us as our group of people.
Yeah. So let me get clear on the question you're asking as to, is it that women need to be more realistic of what they're asking of a man, or
I would say I think they need to understand. I think women need to understand. You're in a relationship with a man. He gets challenged. When a man gets challenged, he says, "What are my options?"
Mm-hmm.
And with that, some of those options are cheat, Tinder, pornography, quit, relationship. And then there's the elevate to give her what she wants. There's the, I see her point. Let me just be that excellent man that she needs and wants and stick to this and be committed on all levels. Like, but he's going to have to remove all those. So he has to be fully integrated to be like, oh, I would never even consider those options. Like, he has. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, come drink beer with the buddies. No. My woman has challenged me, and I am a warrior. All I do is give her what she needs. Like, like she wants to date Geronimo in that case, or some kind of like, because Geronimo fought to the death. Like,
yes.
So is that? It's. I think it's fine as long as a woman tells a man, "I need you to be like Geronimo." It's comical. It's comical.
Yes,
it's comical, but I'm not trying to be funny. That's the level she wants a man to operate at.
It's true. Yes. And that's where we go back to these stories and these expectations and just getting honest with yourself. And I think it took me a while, and I'll use my relationship as an example. My husband's a fireman. I mean, one of the most testosterone-driven occupations out there, right? And I loved his passion. I loved how intense he is. I love his machismo. And when there's emotional conflict, I've come to understand that I need to have patience with him to get to the place where I hope for him to be at, so that we can have a dialogue, not conflict. And in doing that, I needed to let go of the expectation or the truth I was telling to myself. Well, if he really loved me, he would be here sitting quietly listening to what I have to say. If he really loved me, he would be hugging me right now or asking me what he can do to make it better. I mean, at some point, we both end up asking each other that question, which I think is what's made our relationship last and makes it healthy, that I am at a place that I'm able to take accountability for how I contributed to the conflict. But I think it's letting go of that expectation, this fairy tale that, some women have in their mind of, well, when the shit hits the fan, this is how he's going to suit up and show up. And be honest, like, how is your man? How is the man that you're dating? And I think also for men too, like, because we can sometimes get crazy, right? And trigger stuff in you. And what are the expectations that you have for the women that you're dating on how they're to show up when things get messy? Because no, she's not going to waltz into the room wearing nothing and want to jump on you to make up with you. Most often, not really. But what, just getting real with yourself on, and looking at, going back to getting really clear on your vision on in those challenging times. I think that's something that men need to also think about, of how will she handle it? I mean, you already have your list of experiences of situations that did not go well, right? And how either you or her did not handle things right and the relationship fell apart. But moving forward, what kind of woman do you want, and what are the hopes that you have for her on how she's going to handle those challenging times?
I think that what I liked about what you said, and I don't know if you knew you said it, you didn't say that. I'm going to admit you didn't say this. I'm presenting this. I'm presenting this as an underlying current.
Okay.
Which will bring me to question 2, which is this.
Yeah.
Question 1 is this. Do you see that macho-ness has its negatives, and then therefore, in a way, there's a feminine type of macho-ness? In other words, feminine, there's feminine, like there's like a too much feminine in, and there's like macho, there's too much macho.
Yeah.
Where it's like macho is like, they both want to say like, because I'm a man, and one wants to say, because I'm a woman, right? They both want to exert their sexuality on some level.
Yes.
Their gender. They both want to exert their gender. Like it's not necessarily sexuality. It's my gender deserves this. My gender deserves this. And I think that's what I got from what you're saying without you knowing I got it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Because if he loved me, he would be here listening. That's a gender thing. See, like it's like saying, men don't necessarily say it that way, but we have like, well, if she loved me, she would do that. We have our own little, like we have our different type of gender roles that this is what a woman does when she loves you. Is that fair?
Yes, absolutely. We have that expectation. I think, adding to that, each gender within itself handles conflict very differently, right? Amongst women, there are more conversations. And amongst men, what is it? You guys establish your pecking order within 5 minutes in a room of each other, and everybody knows their role, or you duke it out, and then, okay, we're cool. We screamed about it, and then we're done.
Teamwork. I would say the word is teamwork.
Teamwork. Okay.
Yes, the way you laugh at that is hilarious. You know that was a funny, like you're laughing at. I know exactly why you're laughing, but it's just funny that you laugh at it because we really see it as teamwork. We are trained to be team pack, tribal people where we're like, okay, how are we going to achieve this?
Right. Yeah. I think as women, it happens too, but it looks very different amongst women too. So, in bringing that up, it was that because that's familiar to us. That's where we go to at first when there's conflict. We go back to that story of, well, this is how I know how to deal with conflict. That unfortunately, we project that onto our partner. Well, this is how they should be doing it with me, without being willing sometimes to look at, wait, they can be thinking of things completely different. They have their own perspective. They do things very different. How can I meet them halfway in order for us to be on the same team again, as opposed to opponents?
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful question to lead with in a relationship. I know you have to go here shortly.
Yes.
Can I ask one last question?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay. One of the things that really excited about me, what you said and I got this in the question in the beginning, it was you want to integrate, show men that we can integrate. In other words, be having that career, be going into channeling our energy into our career, achieving things. And for me, what excited me the most about integrating what you said is not only getting the fulfillment, the romance and all that. What really excited, again, we're men, what really excited me the most was that you go and get more creativity, more transformation, and more abundance because of the integration.
Yes.
So that was so interesting. We saved it for the end. That would be some great closing
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yes.
How would you explain that? How are we going to get more of that? Because that's what we're after,
Yeah.
right? That's why we're not doing
Yeah.
it. That's the
Yes.
dichotomy. That's the dichotomy there,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
That's what we think it's a
Yeah.
dichotomy. Like, well, you can't have
Yeah.
both. You're going to have to choose
Right.
one. So if we think
Yeah.
of it like a dichotomy, how is it in fact going to create more of that? How?
Absolutely. So I think I shared with you a study that I recently read that men who marry, what was it, like 28 to 30, end up making 16,000 more per year than their single peers. And in diving into more into this study, what I realized is that when men are in a relationship, when you're in a relationship, well, one, you want to make it work because of all the time you've already invested into it. So you're willing to make certain changes that actually help you grow even more. So changes meaning that, you know, as opposed to the dating scene, you're not spending that time, energy, and resource on dating, on going out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that you're able to be more focused at work. You're getting support at home. And that how much more can you perform when you're feeling supported, right? You have somebody to share experiences with, to bounce things off of, to get a different perspective, which really helps in the mindset at work too. So you're able to increase your creativity because you're not this scattered energy trying to find the woman of your dreams. You already have her. So then you're more focused in wanting to be more productive at work because you want to increase your income that much more so that you guys can have the life that you've always wanted. So it's great how the relationship really ignites that creativity and productivity because there's a sense of stability and support where you're able to be fully focused at work. You're not thinking about, oh my gosh, I've sent all these messages out to these women on these dating websites. Have any of them answered? Where am I going tonight? Is she going to call me back? Your mind is able to be fully present at work when you're able to get that healthy relationship.
I love it. I love it. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do you have a book out right now? I know you may be working on one, or I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you're working on a book. Do you have I know your website is Kristy.
DeLeon.com. Yes. I am working on a book. I haven't finalized the title, so I won't put it out there. However, what I do want to share with your viewers is that I have a group program coming out in a week here called 2017 Dating Playbook, and I'll send you that link.
I'm excited.
And I'll share it with you.
And I'll share it with my Facebook friends and everything because I think that's awesome.
Thank you. So it goes into not only the skills and strategy about dating, but dating on a deeper level, so that here in this new year, when you put yourself out there, it's in such an effective way that you're able to get exactly what you want.
Well, you got my attention. Is there any kind of age range that you think works best for you? Like, I'm sure 15 is too young. I'm thinking 15 is way too young. So, so where's a good starting point of people that you think would work best for your program and your coaching? What age?
Yeah, I think men who are at least 25, who are in a place that, I mean, because I understand we all need to go out there and play, right? And that's fine. But I'm ready. I'm ready for the man who wants to show up and it's like, I'm done playing. I want to find the woman of my dreams.
Geronimo.
Yeah.
I mean that in the most awesome way. I know we just have it's been awesome. I really loved probably my favorite interview, or if there could be but definitely I loved it. Such fun, such enriching. I mean, I'm gonna play this back several times. I'll share with my people. Thank you so much, Kristy.
Thank you.
And I'll let you. I know you have an appointment. You're actually got a coach right now, so.
Yes. Thank you so much, Jacob. I really appreciate this opportunity. And I would love to speak with you again. And maybe
Yes, we
we
will.
can, yeah,
I'll
dive
send you the
into
link right
another
now.
one of these topics. Yeah.
Awesome. I'll talk to you soon, Kristy. Have a good one.
Okay.
Be
Talk to
blessed.
you soon.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.